Bethesda, there is nothing I love more than to sit down, comfy chair, turn on my PC, fire up a brand new RPG.
Gang, gang. Gang, gang. Ooh. Ice cream so good. Yeah, strong. Balloon.
Lose myself, think, oh my god, just think of this world, just think of all the planets I can visit.
Yeah, strong woman. Yes, 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 yes. Yeah, strong woman.
All the immersive things that I can get involved with, all the fights, all the relationships, all the people I meet, all the places I go.
Yeah, strong woman. Slay, huh? Oh, take your gaps, I love you. Slay, huh? Gang, gang. Gang, gang.
I'm so excited to go there, and you know, I love nothing more than, with all of that laid out in front of me, I love nothing more than to be dragged out at every conceivable opportunity so you can current day us.
Gang, gang. Fire. Butterfly. Beautiful. Okay. Fire. Gang, gang. Gang, gang. Oh, where's my feet? Ooh. Gang, gang. Gang, gang.
Sorry, did you want to get immersed in our world? Yeah, well, guess what? Get pronouns!
And I'm not taking down that tweet or acknowledging that my tweet violated the Twitter rules.
Up yours, woke moralist! We'll see who cancels!
So we've reached the end of another miserable year where the Earth is just descending into chaos further and further. We're getting even closer to most countries going full fascist, using the plight of desperate refugees to embolden fascist policies. Pretty much Western duopolies are becoming uniparties, where basically both major parties believe in the exact same thing, whether that be Labour and Tories in the UK, whether that be Republicans and Democrats, or many things in the United States. Not saying they're exactly the same, but everything is kind of becoming the same, and yes, climate change is still happening, and we're watching literally some of the worst stuff I've seen in my adult life happening in Palestine right now, with the full support of the West for about 2 and a bit months, but oh, now they're calling for a ceasefire. I've seen only took 20,000 people being killed by an apartheid military for people to finally wake up. So yeah, this year has not been good, but this video is not a year in review of all the terrible stuff. I wanted this one to be more fun, because most things I cover on my channel, especially since October, are not fun. And they're depressing, and I don't like covering this stuff, although sometimes I feel it's useful to lend my voice to it, and that gives me a sense of purpose in talking about it. It's just not good for my mental health, and I actually made a whole video about this recently with my girlfriend, where we talked about this in detail. Now, today, I wanted to talk about more fun moments from 2023 to do with politics, whether that be Jordan Peterson somehow becoming even more unhinged in 2023, to the point where he's even tweeting at me as well, which was a weird moment. I also want to talk about a bit about Elon Musk as well, descending further into the most divorced person of all time. And I also want to talk about like NPC streams, and I want to talk about, I don't know, things like Starfield's pronouns, because it has to be my most favourite thing I've covered since I started doing this. But anyway, let's move on to my favourite things that happened this year. This is going to be like one of those Simpsons episodes where they play like clips from other episodes, because I want to play you clips from my large catalogue throughout the year. Like, I don't know how many videos I've made, because I've made 3 videos a week every single week, probably even more this year. So I know a lot of you haven't watched most of them. But let's start with Jordan Peterson. Now, of course, I've been covering Jordan Peterson since way back in, I think, even 2017, at least early 2018. And it's been amazing to see his absolute spiral into the far right. Like, he always did have far right politics, but he's just so unhinged these days for a multitude of reasons. And that shows with his absolutely unhinged Twitter presence, but not just what he writes on Twitter. How frequently he tweets is mind-blowing. Like, this guy is severely addicted. So I just want to play you this clip from a video earlier this year about his actual Twitter addiction and him like descending into madness. Like, he keeps tweeting the Joker every single day. But here is how much he tweeted within like an hour, what I covered, I think, back in February.
To most people,
you know not to tweet multiple times in a row, but the more times you tweet in a short amount of time, the less your tweets will actually get into the algorithm. People actually read what you're saying. You want to tweet less, or you want to space out your tweets? I'd say for most people, you like wait an hour or wait half an hour at the very least, but Jordan Peterson doesn't like waiting at all. So just going from the top, so tweeting something about Occupy Wall Street 35 minutes ago, but then 38 minutes ago, he's tweeting at Justin Trudeau. And then 39 minutes ago, a CNN post, women in Berlin can now swim topless in cities' public pools if they choose to. It's being hailed as a step forward for gender equality in the German capital. He quote tweets this, absolutely everything you do, CNN, is pathetic virtue signaling. Thank God, nie en days are nimbered. 41 minutes ago, no big deal, just a crow doing a spot of snowboarding. Crows and other corvids are super smart, so just tweeting about random stuff, then retweeting St. Michael's Line, this castle in Europe, then retweeting himself on the Daily Wire. Then 43 minutes ago, he's talking about sending someone to prison who works at a gender clinic. He's retweeting PragerU, the least free place on earth is the mind ensnared by its own lies. 45 minutes ago, he's tweeting again. 47 minutes ago, he's retweeting himself from 50 minutes ago. 52 minutes ago, he's tweeting again about how Sweden dealt with COVID. 54 minutes ago, he's retweeting someone. 57 minutes ago, he's retweeting himself attacking Justin Trudeau again. Then he's retweeting some article from the New York Post talking about the censorship industrial complex. Then he's retweeting someone else who detransitioned 59 minutes ago. Then PragerU tweeting, name one way to fix America. And he writes, pray desperately. That's 1 hour ago. More and more tweets in a really, really short space of time, including retweeting himself loads, just retweeting any little thing he sees. I'm still showing you tweets from within the hour that I started. He just cannot stop retweeting stuff. It eventually slows down. So here you have like 3 hours ago, and then you have 4 hours ago. So like just an absolute unhinged tweeting spree. I can't even imagine like doing that. I can't even imagine how I would do that, even if I was trying to prove a point about how unhinged it is to tweet this much. Like, it's so bizarre. It seems like he has a dependency on the dopamine that social media gives you. And in that random ass tweeting all the time, probably my favorite thing that happened this year was he tweeted a fetish milking video. And he said it was the Communist Party in China extracting semen from people unwillingly to create new children in China. That is how much anti-communism absolutely rots your brain. And also, these are the people who complain about the lefties sexualizing everyone. I don't remember too many left-wing people tweeting that out to millions of people. Seems to be a bit hypocritical. But even then, he started tweeting me as well. And I'm talking about how anti-communism like absolutely rots your brain. So I had this tweet, quote tweeting Konstantin Kizin, because he made a video saying communism is the most dangerous and destructive ideology that has ever been inflicted on the human race at a scale, yes, even worse than fascism, right? This is what most anti-communists believe. Most of them are fascists as well, so it's not surprising. So I quote tweet this and I say, the only people who think communism is worse than fascism are Nazis. And Konstantin actually quote tweeted it himself. So that's how I appeared on Petey Boy's radar. And he wrote me a nice haiku saying, you're stupid or corrupt, or stupid and corrupt. I just told him to go back to bed. Grandpa, it's enough crazy tweeting for one day. But yeah, it was really bizarre finally seeing Petey Boy find me. And you guys might say you should feel honoured. Like, you finally annoyed him enough that he actually sought you out. But no, as I've proven to you, and with the Chinese milking thing, he's just on Twitter 24/7. Like, he doesn't know anything about me. He just saw me quote tweeting that guy saying, you know, the only people who think communism is worse than fascism is fascists, which Petey Boy himself believes as well, by the way. And then he took exception to that. And I just got, obviously, a massive dog pile from actual fascist followers of both these people. His whole descent into this has just been like a bit of a highlight of my year because it's just so funny. And I don't even find him that dangerous anymore because he's so pathetic. Like, there was a period in time where I think he was more influential, but now he's just another bog standard talking head on the far right. They could literally replace him with anyone at this point because all the stuff he says is so cookie cutter There used to be a point where, because he had a more respectable, I guess, persona, because he was more coherent, even though he would say similar things, people took him more seriously. And because he had the self-help stuff as well, people would maybe read that and get into his politics, which seemed less, I guess, far right, even though in my opinion they always were. So that is one of the highlights of my year, getting quote tweeted by Peterson. On that subject as well, the Daily Wire CEO also tweeted out one of my videos making fun of their terrible transphobic film Lady Ballers, which was a weird moment as well. Finally getting noticed by these people, just bizarre. I've covered Elon Musk a lot this year. I don't want to talk about him too much because I do that quite a lot. I will say he's way more dangerous than Jordan Peterson because what he's made Twitter into is basically 4chan, but somehow even worse. Like, the stuff you see now is just absolutely unhinged. And I think there was even a report today. He scaled back moderation on Twitter even more. So you can literally post whatever you want, pretty much. I mean, unless you're like a leftist, which seems to be a good way of getting banned. Because he became the most divorced dad possible, there's obviously stories coming out that he was literally using his private jet to fly around and avoid legal papers from Grimes, who wanted custody of all their children, because it seems like he's holding on to one of them as his own, like, heir apparent or something, trying to make this kid mini Elon. And he's also been dodging paying child support as well. So, yeah, richest man on earth, acting like the most divorced man on earth. Also, you know, the Cybertruck, I might make another video on this, I'm not sure. So bad. So bad. Like, I know it's not just on him, but it is something that only comes from divorced billionaire dad. And yeah, it just looks terrible. Apparently is made like crap as well, from lots of reports who've had an up-close look at some of the earlier versions and stuff. And yeah, suddenly people seeing them in the wild thinking they look terrible and also look really, really unsafe, to the point where it looks like they won't actually be allowed in Europe at all because there are better regulations about the size of cars and different things like that. So yeah, that was another, I guess, highlight of 2023. One other thing I quite enjoyed, I wouldn't call it the downfall of Mr. Beast, but to me, Mr. Beast finally showing his true colors. So I wrote a tweet at the end of last year saying 2023 will be the downfall of Mr. Beast. And I didn't think he'd necessarily do something really terrible, but I was amazed that finally his antics had gotten a bit of backlash. So you guys remember, I forgot what month it was, maybe February, or late January. He made a video of him curing people's blindness, or saying, you know, in the clickbait thumbnail, he was acting like he was actually curing people who couldn't see, but he was curing partial blindness.
In this video, we're curing 1,000 people's blindness. It's gonna be crazy. 200 million people see the world like this. But I just made it one less.
Oh.
You can't see, but we have all the technology to fix it.
Yep, half of all the blindness in the world is people who need a 10-minute surgery.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Our next patient is Charlie.
You're not able to read any of this text on the TV?
No, it's an E or something, I think.
He won't know he won 10 grand until after his surgery. I can't wait to see his reaction.
And it got lots of backlash for multiple reasons. People like me saying, like, you know, once again, as I've been criticizing him for years, Mr. Beast is exploiting poverty for his content. And I think it's pretty gross. And also, it never really talks about the issue generally. And a lot of it is just like poverty adult film, shall we say, especially when, for some reason, he's focused so much attention on African countries, mainly sub-Saharan African countries, and the way he depicts all these places are very, very poor rural villages. I thought we'd all agreed white celeb going to African village to do charity was outdated like maybe like 5 or 6 years ago, but apparently not. Apparently it's back in fashion. And yeah, the backlash was very swift. Everyone's saying like he was gross. Everyone's saying the content was gross. Some people like Hassan just saying like it's stupid, this needs to be done by a YouTuber, which I agree with as well, but at the same time I just hate the whole thing, right? I'm literally the president of the I Hate Mr. Beast fan club. And at the same time as well, his response to the backlash was so telling. Like, do you guys remember he was saying like, should I run for president? Talking about like people on Twitter being upset that YouTuber finally does good things, saying that like he's inspiring the next generation with his charity work, talking about how, you know, this is actually an issue and he was trying to start the conversation, which is all just a lie and, you know, cope. And basically what Mr. Beast ran into for the first time was leftist Twitter, because prominent left-wing accounts not just me, who isn't that prominent, started tweeting about how much they hate this stuff. And then every time he'd upload now, there's so much negative attention on him just from Twitter. And my main point about all this was, he was coping so hard with the fact that a very vocal minority, left-wing people on Twitter, didn't like this video when he became the biggest YouTuber on the platform. And 24/7, most people are telling him he's the best person who's ever lived. But that's not enough for someone. Like, he literally has to be liked by everyone because he's just a massive narcissist. So it was actually, you know, for me, quite refreshing that he actually showed his true colours. And the facade of Mr. Beast, very nice guy, just seems to be failing a bit. And also saying stuff about running for president. Said this on a podcast as well, like his strategy would be just like to give everyone money.
Yeah.
Run for prez?
Yeah, I want to try to make a ton of money and then just like give it all away right before I announce my campaign. Like,
I thought you were gonna say buy the presidency.
no, like imagine
Make a
I
ton of
bought
money.
the White House. Imagine I have like $10 billion and then I just give it all away and I'm just like, I can't be bought. I had it all, give it all away. Like, that's pretty powerful.
Looking forward to that presidential run in like 20 years. So yeah, that was another like moment of 2023 that I felt validated on because, like I said, I was the first person to try and cancel this guy. And I'll probably be the last. When everyone else has given up, I'll still be going. Now, this wasn't like a top moment of 2023, but I just liked covering this for some reason. And that was the rise of NPC TikTok live streams. This creator has just been blowing up on Twitter recently. Everyone being like super confused and, like I said, memeing about it. So what I thought we'd do is just watch some together.
Oh, thank you, Luis. Yes, do you think, Woo! Yes. Oh, thank you, baby. This is so cool. Thank you, Abby. Fire, balloon. Ooh.
Marshmallow. Crunchy corn, yum. Kitty paws. Pumpkin, yum.
So, I really don't get what's going on with this one. People are sending weights, and I'm trying to watch what people are sending.
Ice cream, yum.
So it seems like every time she gets a chili, she changes her voice. I don't know what the hell is going on with this. It seems to obviously be the same premise given gifts, and she reacts differently based on what she gets. So she is very good at this acting because it feels like I'm watching an AI model right now. This doesn't feel like I'm watching a human. But it is like very disturbing. I don't know what you guys think. I feel like she can see me right now, like through the screen, and this is a recording. So it feels like very, very intimate and uncomfortable. And I just don't like it. I just don't like watching this one, right? This is like a scale I've presented you. I don't like watching this last one. It's just way too creepy for me. I don't even remember what the person was called, the most famous one, but apparently they've been going on for a bit. And then suddenly this had transferred to Twitter where everyone saw this absolute nonsense, which was people in the TikTok chat donating like different items, which would make the NPC streamer say different things. And there was a lot of people already doing this, but then it caused like a lot of different trends to happen. And honestly, this way of making money through content creation, which I don't disparage on the surface, but at the same time, it felt just so dystopian. Stuff that like we couldn't really imagine back in the day when all these authors of the cyberpunk genre were writing different dystopian things. I mean, it does kind of remind me of something out of Cyberpunk 2077. I specifically said in my video, it reminded me of the dolls from Clouds, who are like kind of programmed to be like this NPC you can interact with. And they have a program in their head which will basically turn off their real self and have this uploaded personality to interact with you. I said it kind of felt like we're going in that way. But yeah, like absolutely bizarre. Some of them are better than others. Like Pinky Doll, I think, is the main one. There was some talent because it was like that ASMR type thing. But at the same time, like a very bizarre period in the year, which seems to just happen within a week and then disappear forever. Like, who talks about this stuff anymore? Like, who's even seen an NPC stream lately? At the same time, very, very, very weird. But fun to cover and fun to see which direction the world is heading in. NPC streams while the world turns fascist. Lovely. My absolute favourite thing that happened this year, and we can all admit it's a very, very funny thing, is the anti-SJW conservative YouTuber becoming the main character on the whole of the internet for his rant about Starfield pronouns.
Get pronouns!
Now, you guys should know what this is, but I'll give you a little breakdown. Starfield is, of course, a Bethesda game that came out in September. I completed it. It was fine. Kind of funny how outdated it is, especially compared to Cyberpunk and Phantom Liberty, which came out at the same time. But like a few modern RPGs these days, it asks you at the start what gender you are. And you can give your pronouns, and you can have he, him, she, her, or they, them. And it literally does not affect the story in any way. Like, it really, really doesn't matter for relationships. Your character doesn't speak. It doesn't matter, right? It feels like everything is kind of gender neutral when it comes to your own playable character. And you can just put in, like, your actual pronouns as well. You don't have to be transgender, Starborn in Starfield. But his rant about this, which I'm going to play for you, because we just have to keep watching it, I think summarizes the whole anti-SJW nerd movement in a whole. Because even more like conservative gamer bros were saying it was so embarrassing. Because it was. Like, the Ant-Man was calling this guy out too. And what it summarized for me, and I said it in my video, is this is so pathetic. And it's really clear that although this guy might hate wokeness, he was really working himself up on purpose. Like, this isn't him. This isn't an organic reaction by him. He's doing this for content, which makes it so much worse. Like, imagine embarrassing yourself this much, pretending to be outraged about pronouns in an RPG game where you can make your character look absolutely absurd, right? But apparently the most unrealistic thing in sci-fi space RPG is they, them.
Did you want to get immersed in our world? Yeah, well, guess what? Pronouns! Gender ambiguity! In current day Californian shit! Because that's all we can know! Because we're boring! We're so boring! We can't see past our own reflection. That's the level of our narcissism here at Bethesda Western Game Company. F your immersion. F you having a good time. F you falling into a world and just getting lost. No, no, no! Current day! You're boring! You're dull! You have nothing to say. You are a one-hived mind twat waffle. And you wonder why people are getting so fucking sick and tired. You take everything we love, all our immersions, all our fantasies, all our escapism, and you just can't help shovel your dog ideology into everything. Every single solitary thing.
So I don't think I'll ever get tired of watching that rant. Like, it's just in internet lore forever now, Starfield pronouns guy. And I'm happy because someone in that community has to have something so embarrassing that it's stuck to them forever. Because I watch so many of their rants, or I used to anyway, and I used to cover their content more. And it's always so embarrassing. It's always so manufactured. It's always so stupid. But finally someone did something so bad that everyone just dunked on them. Everyone. It united the political spectrum on Twitter and in the gaming community. We all joined hands to attack heel versus babyface's fake outrage about Starfield pronouns. I can't imagine what that guy felt like, but it serves him right for being such a hateful bigot. That he became the internet main character, not just for the day, this was like a whole week, which is very rare because our attention spans are so rotted by TikTok and stuff. We don't pay attention to stuff for long anymore. But don't worry, we love this rant so much, I don't think we'll ever forget it. So that was my favourite things I covered on YouTube this year. I probably have more, but I think these are the ones that stick in my head the most. I guess, like my roundup last year, I'll end it on my own personal feelings. 2023 was cool for me in some way. Like, obviously, I was doing the second, like, half of my trip around Southeast Asia. Did a month in Chiang Mai, Thailand. Did a month in Siem Reap, Cambodia. Did a month in Hanoi, Vietnam again. And then I went to Japan and South Korea, and like Tokyo is one of my favorite places I've ever been. And yeah, that was a great thing to do this year. Went to some other places that were interesting. I went to West Belfast in Northern Ireland. Never been to Northern Ireland before. And that was only the start of this month. So I enjoyed getting the historical look at all that stuff as well. Obviously, I hit 100k subscribers on YouTube. Very cool. very good achievement. It's good and bad, because it's good because you stop stressing about subs, because for me, that seems like my ceiling, like about 100k. I don't think I'm going to get much bigger than that. But also, it starts to feel kind of pointless, the subscribers a bit. And in terms of my personal life, I've interacted with some cool people. It's weird to see people you like interacting with your channel. Like one of the composers of Assassin's Creed, Black Flag, has commented on a couple of my videos, which is really cool since I still listen to that soundtrack. Overall, personally, like, you know, cool year for me. I'll never forget a lot of it. But as I've transitioned back into like normal English life has just become pretty ordinary. I started playing 11-a-side football again, but the team was too crowded for me to sign up permanently, so I haven't been playing that as much as I wanted to. 5-a-side football, our team has ended, sadly, because people just moved away from where I live, so maybe next year's goal is to play more football, because I love football. The bad things, you know, personally, I've gone through all the bad things in that other video. In terms of content creation, I've enjoyed it a fair bit more this year, I think, compared to last year. Last year was very stressful in multiple ways. And plans for the future, I want to try and start a gaming podcast next year, and I want to make less videos but higher quality, and I'm going to test out some new formats a bit next year, because the meta now seems to be small video essays with a thumbnail that looks like this. I'll put it on screen because they all look like this now. And I thought maybe I've been enjoying these videos recently. I've been watching a couple of these creators, and I was thinking, why don't I try to do something a bit more like that? Why don't I try something a bit more highly edited, a bit more scripted, and something that hopefully will do better in terms of an individual video, in terms of views. Maybe I won't have to put out so much content just to sustain like revenue and stuff like that. And yeah, I've liked live streaming again this year, so I will continue doing live streams next year as well. I'll be going into I think my 4th year of full-time YouTube, which is crazy. Yeah, 2021, 22, 23, so 24. It'll be my 4th year, which is mad. So thank you everyone for supporting me throughout the years, especially people who've been around for a long, long time. Really appreciate it. You know, this is one of the best jobs I can personally have, and it's felt good to do it this year, because when something important like Palestine comes up, and you have the knowledge and you have the platform to talk about it, to help people understand what's going on, or just give a voice to the voiceless, I'm not going to say it feels rewarding in like a good way, but it feels like I'm actually doing something, which sometimes, even when you're talking about political topics, it's hard to feel like that. And if there's a tiny, 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 tiny silver lining to everything that's going on, it's that I feel like I've had a bit more purpose this year. Oh, and also, I'll end on this. The coolest thing that's happened this year is 2 people in public have recognized me, which I know might seem quite sad to people, but when you just create content online all the time, it feels like no one in real life has ever watched your videos. It's a very bizarre feeling to have like, I think nearly 9 million views this year, and it feels like no one in my real life has ever watched this. And to be fair, a lot of people in real life that I know don't actually watch my videos, even my friends and family. I hope everyone feels bad for me there. But yeah, when I was just standing on a random street corner in Hanoi, just had some breakfast with my girlfriend, this guy, American guy, hope you're watching still, comes up to me and he asked me if I'm the Kavernacle. He says he likes my videos and we have a good conversation. And that just like blew my mind. I'm like 5,000 miles away from home. I don't know how actually far away I was. And just some random guy recognizing me on the street corner. Like, absolutely amazing. And then at the second pro-Palestine march I went to, one of the biggest in British history for protests, someone else recognized me as well. And we had like a really good chat about Palestine. They said nice words about my content. And it just like really meant so much for people to actually tell me. I get a lot of messages from people, comments from people. And while I appreciate all of that, it's just not the same thing, really. And you don't feel like it's like a real person saying it to you. So actual people saying it to me and being able to have that like back and forth conversation about stuff, that was just really cool. And it's the first time it's ever happened to me. So yeah, I appreciate that. And also, if you do see me in public, because someone else messaged me saying they did see me, but they didn't want to come up to me to like bother me and stuff, just come up and say hi. Like, I really appreciate it. And I just enjoy talking with people who have like-minded politics. But yeah, that is it for 2023. This video will probably go up, I think, even before Christmas. So I'll still have a couple uploads before the end of the year. But I'm going to be off from the 23rd until, who knows, 5th or 6th of January. So I hope everyone has a good holidays and enjoys it and play a lot of video games. Baldur's Gate 3 is not the GOTY, by the way. That is Tears of the Kingdom. And probably Jedi Survivor runners-up. And that is my final words on 2023. Let's hope 2024 is better, but I will say it's not going to be better. And even if we have a general election in the UK and the Tories are voted out, it makes no difference to me at all because the Labour Party just is bad. And with the general election in the US, let's just hope, you know, if Joe Biden is the nominee, he doesn't lose. But let's just hope the Democrats see sense and replace him with someone, because otherwise the US is pretty much over next year. So anyway, nice optimistic note to end on. But if you made it this far, thank you for watching.